Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about Madlanga Commission, where we had Brigadier Mkabela talking about the IB system versus what Captain Mangena, an analyst there at the Silverton Science Laboratory where Mkabela works. Let's do a comparison of those two things quickly. What Mkabela said first, and then what this one Mangena said regarding the IB system and all of that Shende. Okay, Shende is something that I know from OWAMI. I want to read quickly a few things. Okay, sorry. I wanna read for you a few things that he mentioned today on the Madlanga Commission. In fact, they are quite they are quite important for the Senzo Meyiwa case. Quick lesson that I thought we will appreciate. Because what? This says a lot about Mangena's character, about the things that he has. You will make up your own mind. I'm not going to accuse him of anything, but I want you to get through and see what Mkabela says here. And Mkabela, I believe, is a big boss there. Is a big boss. I want to read quickly a few things. Now, okay, 8 hours ago, Mkabela is now testifying about the IBIS system, which is used to investigate whether bullets and firearms used in particular crimes can be linked to other crimes. Listen to this. I wanted to stick with you. I'm going to put okay. And then he says that the Forensic Science Laboratory Administration System is a software that is used to manage or use for the administration and management of forensic science laboratory cases. It's a record keeping system where unique laboratory numbers are generated for a specific case. It keeps the chain of custody. When you hand in an exhibit to someone, you hand it through the system. Did you hear that, guys? You hand it through the system. But when it comes to Mangena, we're gonna do it that we compare it now. If it's a record keeping system where unique laboratory numbers were generated for specific case, it keeps the chain of custody. When you hand in an exhibit to someone, you hand it through the system. Was this done by Mangena? Mm-mm. Did Mangena do this on the Senzo Meyiwa case? Did he tell us he did this? Instead, Mangena told us that he brought it and put it in his own safety. But he never put it through the system. So chances are this is not in the system. The Senzo Meyiwa case, so-called firearm or weapon, murder weapon, could be that it's not on the system. And then it keeps the chain of custody. When you hand in an exhibit to send it to someone, you hand it through the system. When you want to find out what happened to this case file or exhibit, you go onto the system. It gives you a trail. What happened to that exhibit? To whom is it in possession? So that is the FSL admin system, he said. Guys, when you want to check, you go to the system. So Umangena, if they are saying this firearm was for Cleveland case, why didn't this firearm pick up? Why didn't IBIS pick up when it came in for the Cleveland case? That there is a cartridge that was found, or a bullet tonton that was found for the murder of Meyiwa. Why didn't it pick it up, guys? Why? Mangena, when you want to find out what happened to this case file or exhibit, You go on the system. It gives you a trail. What happened to the exhibit? To whom is it in possession? So he did go through after. Do you understand that we just did the Buthelezi brothers video? So after finding the replacement for the Buthelezi brothers, now they saw Ncube and they were like, oh, okay. So this one has a case, then we can use that firearm. And then Mukabela explained how ballistic records to a particular crime are stored. There is an option available to indicate whether the crime is high profile or not. Mukabela said most of the time analysts would not know the exact nature of the crime, whether it was high profile or not. Okay? It appears that the bullet being analyzed here may be one of the cartridges recovered from the Ahmad Swart murder suspect in Bram. Witness A testified that the Johannesburg police detective Michael Puletau and another suspect were found in possession of 15 cartridges in a plastic bag when they were arrested in Bramley hours after Swart. So there is a picture there. Okay, there you see, it's showing there is the report here. There is what happened, the things that come out. Okay. The records on this IB system show that there are 29 hits on a particular test cartridge on 20 October. Mukabela says he can't signify what exactly that might relate to. He later said that these 29 hits would need to be confirmed. It seems that the hits suggest possible links to other crimes. Mukabela says he will not be able to provide the commission with a timeline for how hits on the 4 guns recovered during the SWAT investigation were confirmed to be linked to other crimes. But here is what is important. He later said that the 29 hits would need to be confirmed. Mukabela said the records on the IB system show that there are 29 hits on a particular test cartridge on 20 October. If it's on the system, it will detect, guys, it will go look for who is my relative. Why did it not do the same in 2015 when Ncube was arrested with that firearm? Because that one of sense was already in the system. Do you guys get this? Do you understand this? Mukabela says on the IB system, firstly, in the South African Police Service, we pride ourselves of having acquired this type of system to assist us to automate the ballistic process. So it's automated. Because of high level of violent crime that we experience, which involves firearms, it is imperative to have a system that is going to automate the system. And this is the kind of system that we have. We started using this system in 1997 up till to date. What the system does is it captures and compare digital images of bullets and cartridges cases to link firearms used in different crimes and take high resolution digital meters of bullets and cartridge cases, including the unique marks like firing pin impressions, firing pin marks, and breach of face mark patterns. Guys, these are the things that Dave was referring to. These are the things. Actually, this is quite a technical evidence, but it is important. This is because the fact that witness A and B have both testified about how central ballistic evidence was to linking a murder of Ahmad Swart to other crimes. They both said they faced considerable appeal in getting evidence of those connections. Mukabela confirmed that the IB system identifies a range of potential hits links to other crimes. That's what IBIS does, guys. He said it can take as soon as 5 hours to find these suspected connections, but stresses that these potential connections will need to be confirmed through in-depth analysis and comparison by an expert. Guys, please, Umangena must not dare. Umangena must not dare. No, Umangena must not dare. Umangena Umangena, no. Now, Dave was right when he said that firearm of accused number 3 did not match. It did not match because Umangena did not give us these details like this, guys. Instead, Umangena said, in fact, let me do this quickly. What was his name? Mangena, ballistic expert, analyst for Senzo Meyiwa. Testimony. That's what I want now. Because Umangena, guys, no, we can't, no. Umangena udlala ngathi. Mangena testified that a 9mm parabellum pistol found in the possession of accused number 3 Mthobisi Mncube was the firearm which fired the bullet that killed Senzo Meyiwa. Listen to this. He said he fired 8 bullet tests from the suspect firearm and compared them to the bullet or fragments recovered from the crime scene, the kitchen in Vosloorus, and found sufficient marks to determine a positive match. He conducted a reconstruction of the shooting scene. He testified that those 2 shots were fired inside the house. The first hit the floor tile at roughly 90 degrees, fragmenting. The second shot was fired downward, passed through Meyiwa's body, struck the kitchen door, deflected, and landed on the kitchen counter. He said that his findings were peer-reviewed by colleagues, 4 analysts, and approved, and that he had never had a case where his positive findings was overturned by a peer. Regarding the lack of cartridge castings at the scene, which 9mm pistol would eject, Mangena offered explanation cartridges could land on clothing or bodies, or if the shooter was in contact with the victim, the case may remain in the firearm. Defense challenging and points of contention. The defense presented by Advocate Charles Mnesifo Mncube challenged Mangena's findings, arguing that he did not demonstrate all the comparative marks and that his result was perhaps borderline and required peer review because of uncertainty. The defense argued Mangena's chart only used 2 of the test bullets, bullet 5 and 9. Why 5 and 9? Rather than all the bullets fired, and that this selective use raised questions about his methodology. The defense accused him of being biased, not strictly objective, because he had asked only certain accused to remove shoes or socks for measures, and said he acted like part of the investigating team. The chain of evidence and the condition of the firearm were also questioned, e.g., the barrel condition being in a distressed condition yet still yielding a match, and the absence of cartridge at the scene was used to challenge the scenario. Why is this testimony matters? Mangena linking of the firearm found in Mncube's possession to the bullet from the crime scene is one of the main forensic pillars the state is relying on to tie the accused to murder of Senzo Meyiwa. The fact that the evidence is being vigorously challenged by the defense means the reliability of the ballistic match is a live issue in the trial, influencing the strength of the state case. The highly technical nature of ballistic matching, microscopic comparison of striations and marks means that expert credibility, methodology, peer review, and transparency are key. Umangena, guys, he played us. Umangena, I do not believe this. But what I was trying to show to you guys is that Mkhabela showed us how it's done. And Umangena did not. Yay. Umangena, there are things that he did not do quite correctly, guys. That's what I would say. Anyway, that's what, and the last part that I want to say is that Detective Masondo, who arrested who accused number 3 for the Cleveland Alexander case, specifically said, if the firearm was involved in the Senzo Mayiwa case, I would have known. So that alone, it's a police officer who arrested accused number 3. Why do I believe him? It's because that officer took those things and they went through IBIS. So if these people took that through IBIS and then Mangena comes and says something else, he's playing us, guys. Why didn't he check IBIS? Why, in fact, he did not even need to check IBIS. IBIS should have told Masondo about a linkage to another crime. There were other cases, and I remember Mnisi asking him, why didn't you start at number 1? Because number 1, it was the Senzo Mayiwa case. There were cases that the firearm was checked against. It was Mayiwa case and other cases, and only matched to the one of Cleveland. It only matched there. It did not match on any other, including the Senzo Mayiwa case. It was there. You guys, son. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? Let's talk comment section. I want to hear your views. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.